Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grimflayer. Hope you're all doing very well today. And I am here to bring you another donation league, Modern Blue Rock Revisited. So this is a donation league for Alan Lambert, and this is kind of a collaboration, and it's kind of a meeting point between what he's been playing a little bit lately, which is basically just straight green-black rock that splashes blue for literally Oko, maybe one or two other things, but mainly just for Oko, affectionately known as Rocco to Alan, and or Rocco, I guess. I don't even know how you would pronounce that, but anyway, it's kind of a meeting point between that and between the Blue Rock list that I featured on this channel that is the brainchild of donor Matthew Dika. So I really like green-black rock, as anybody who's seen this channel for more than 5 seconds can tell you. I also really liked Matthew's blue rock take that we did as the previous donation league on this channel, and as I say, this list that Alan and I collaborated on is kind of a meeting point between the two lists, and it also is influenced by the comments we got on the initial Blue Rock donation league video. Some people pointed out we had a Jace the Mind Sculptor there, which is always a fine one of in any kind of a fair deck that can support him, but some viewers pointed out that Vraska Golgari Queen, not only a very good card in her own right, but also has extra synergies with Oko above and beyond her usual power. So, Vraska definitely a nice addition here in place of Jace. We also have cut the very interesting, and, you know, not because I didn't like it, but because we just kind of wanted to do something different, the very interesting Thought Scour and Taziger package that Matthew brought to bear, and instead we are replacing them with more traditional technology of Scavenging Ooze, which was not Matthew's list, and I do feel that the list missed a little bit. And also with Opt, this was another thing suggested by viewers. Now, I still think Thought Scour is still viable in this slot, but so is Opt. And you know what? The one thing that we don't really have on BGX so much of is card selection. So Opt is definitely going to help in that regard, as well as just providing a nice, like, proactive floor as a, you know, if you have nothing better to do with Snapcaster Mage, you just want to have a mana-efficient turn set up for a better mid-game, Snap Opt is always live, right? So that's basically the idea. Other than that, a lot of what we're up to is similar to what we were up to with Matthew's list. Alan and I, following Alan's lead here and just offering critique and ideas, basically. We've made a couple changes. You know, there's a third Liliana of the Veil. We've diversified the threats a little bit with a Hex Drinker and a Tracker instead of 2 Trackers. I did add a Blooming Marsh. I believe we have 18 black, 17 green, and 16 blue sources. This is definitely a little bit more green heavy than Matthew's list. Alan wanted 3 Trophy, 1 Decay. We've also... Ooh, you know what? I think I almost forgot to make this change. He's got 3 Thoughtseize written up and 3 Inquisition as opposed to the 4-2 split that Matthew is on. So let's do that real quick. That's also another change that we've made. Otherwise, it's a lot of the same stuff. We do have a 3rd Plague Engineer in the sideboard, and we also... this was my idea. I'm very eager to see how it plays. Veil of Summer ×2. I know Alan is high on Veil of Summer himself, actually. Something that he's recently been playing a little bit of in Rock, and I've recently been very strongly considering adding it to Rock and to Jund. So why not try it here in Blue Rock, where not only are its use cases just as live, we can also snap it back. You gotta love that extra potential value and the extra potential blowout. I mean, how many times can we just X for 1 them with this deck? Well, maybe we're about to find out. So anyway, here's the deck, my friends. We are going to jump into a live recorded league for you. And I am borrowing the Okos yet again, still don't owe them. And therefore, I have not played even a single practice warm-up game with this, so please, please forgive me. Whoops, I'm already on league. If I don't play that well, I'm gonna try my best, but, you know, the nuances, or even just getting comfortable with it, you know. Hopefully that stuff doesn't elude me. So while we're finding this, we have a few Patreon supporters to thank. We have to thank Jonathan Poirier-Monette, who is our newest Patreon supporter. Jonathan is a confidant. Thank you so much, my friend. We also have to thank Julio Caro, who was an Inquisitor and has upgraded his level of support all the way up to the very highest tier of the Veil. Thank you so much, Julio. Really, really generous of you, my friend. And speaking of generous, last but certainly not least, we're saying thank you so much to Alan Lambert, who has earned this donation league via his Patreon support. This is a hand we can keep, by the way. We will. And we not only have to thank Alan for that level of support and for funding the donation league, but also for being so kind as to lend me the Okos. Alan is an all-around awesome dude. He's a dedicated BG Rock player, and he also loves himself some spice. And that's what we're doing here. We're spicing up the life a little bit with a little bit of blue. He's a lifelong Magic player since '95, and now he's all in on the BGX life due to this channel in his own words. So what he wants, he hopes others like this deck, and he hopes they can encourage their friends to watch my channel. You know, very well said. I'm not going to argue with that. So thanks again, Alan, and here we are with a very interesting turn 1 decision already. So we kind of need green mana off the Delta, but we also kind of want to get the Tar Pit down early. We also kind of want to cast things on curve. So it's actually very unclear what we're supposed to do, but I'm just going to go with the safe option of Swamp Thoughtseize. We do want to be a little bit more careful with our life total in a lot of matchups. This is not really one of them, it's Eldrazi Tron. So Blast Zone, Eldrazi Temple, Urza's Tower, Mindstone, Karn the Great Creator. Think we're just taking the payoff here. Attacking their land base and their mana production seems a little bit fruitless. Great Creator might be a card that we can beat with our board, but you never know what else they're going to find, so I don't mind just forcing them to draw action here. Okay, we've drawn another Polluted Delta. That's pretty good. Just means we're going to get a guaranteed Oko on curve. We also have the 4th land for Creeping Tar Pit activation, so the 4th land was a pretty necessary draw. Okay, Matter Reshaper, actually one of their very best cards against us. Pretty annoying one. Wonder if we should be making that into an Elk. What do you think? Is that worth doing? Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to let them have the draw. Even though we're behind on life total, and even though we have a Planeswalker to protect, I still think we're supposed to aggro here. Take the role of aggro because they just have payoffs that we simply cannot beat. This is admittedly a little weak to a few different things, but... And so they've drawn Thought-Knot Seer and Matter Reshaper when we were kind of going in on them not having payoffs, so not only have they found payoffs, but they found very early proactive ones. A little bit tough. A little bit tough. Those who have seen this channel may know that Eldrazi Tron is my least favorite deck in existence. We've drawn Fatal Push, though. What a great draw. What a great draw. So we're going to get a little bit... Wonder if we should actually just be shocking in just in case we draw a 3-drop. This is kind of a tough call too, honestly. I'm going to say no. I'm going to err on the side of caution here. But maybe that's overly cautious. Again, I don't have a sense, an intuitive sense for like these corner case decisions yet. Hopefully I don't have to make too many of them. We've drawn an Abrupt Decay. Okay. I like that. Are we just hitting map? Or are we... Oh, we can't cast it yet anyway. Alright. Well, I suppose that was a reason to have fetched an untapped land, but you live and you learn, right, my friends? You live and you learn. My thinking was that we could cast most 2-drops with just these lands, and we didn't have double black for Liliana, which is one of our only 3-drops that's great there. Obviously, a duplicate Oko is not great in that exact window, in that exact turn, so... But again, maybe I should have just shocked this in. Scavenger Grounds. It's actually a pretty tough one. I wouldn't have minded so much if they had to Blast Zone to deal with our Goyf, but now they can kind of beat it. Or we can just make our own Goyf and do an Elk. There's that line too. Alright. So I guess we attack first with the Goyf. Then maybe make it an Elk second main. Sure. So we are going to make Oko an Elk. We are therefore going to decay Matter as Shaper this turn, or next turn, to protect our Oko. So we might as well do it now. Get the extra damage in with Goyf. So the reason I didn't make the food main phase is, again, I wanted to kind of... I was thinking leave my options open to make the Goyf itself an Elk, but maybe I should have foreseen that we were just going to decay and become a 2-3 anyway, and that would have been fine. So maybe I should have made that a food and Elk in the main phase. But the problem with that is it... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was not optimal. Either way, we have very nearly lethal on board. Opponent just fetching up a storm over there. So we have creature, instant artifact. Scavenging Ooze is not a way to generate lethal. But we're going to play it out at the risk of running into a sweeper. I don't think they can quite cast one anyway. Or if they do, they're hopefully just dead to the tar pit. I think we're just going as wide as possible. Alright, so I believe we should have lethal here. I probably did not sequence optimally. Hopefully we don't lose. Yeah, they have to be able to beat our board, plus another Elk, plus the tar pit. They've got 9 mana, 10 if they're casting Eldrazi spells. So what's the best they could do? Like, well, if they have All Is Dust, then we lose our Oko too. But they'd still lose to the Creeping Tar Pit. They'd have to have, like, All Is Dust and then Dismember or Ghost Quarter or something, probably. So, yeah, that was good enough. Yeah, that was a pretty strong curve out from us against a deck that I hate and am very happy to take the win off of. So, the trouble with Eldrazi Tron when you're on a BGX mid-range deck is a lot of your spells are just not the most impactful. I suppose we're going to play Spreading Seas. Seems fine enough. Little potentially weak to Blast Zone, I guess, but... And we will play Stroke, and then these core green-black hate cards are pretty good, too. We're not going to play Extraction. I think that's a little medium against Eldrazi Tron anyway, and certainly only want it if you've got land destruction effects, which we do not. So... I think we're going to cut Tracker. It's a little bit non-Bowie with our Oof. And Scavenging Ooze, like, the problem with cutting these cards in some ways is that they're one of the things that if the game goes long and all that, and the stars align, they are things that actually outsize Eldrazi, whereas not everything really can in our deck, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how realistic that is. So we'll consider cutting all 3 Inquisitions. I'm a little higher on them on the draw than on the play. Something like Abrupt Decay 2. Like, it has its use cases. Maybe a little bit better on the draw because we're a little bit more afraid of getting chaliced out. Can we fit all 9 of these cards in? I think Vraska's a little bit slow and underpowered. Okay, I don't really love cutting all of those, but if we do cut all of those, then... Oh no, we have another Oof to still get in. Alright, let's play only 2 Plague Engineer. It's just kind of a death toucher here. We could cut the final Scoos. I guess that's pretty good. Not sure exactly how to rate Drown in the Loch. I think all in all, we are somewhat soft to the grave hate that they have, probably both in the form of sideboard cards and in the form of their main deck stuff like Scavenger Grounds, but you can't play too scared of that. I think we have to play our highest quality cards, and I hope that's what we've done. This looks like an awesome hand. We're definitely keeping it. It's a little bit one-dimensional, but what a great hand. And the opponent has mulliganed. If we were on the play, they would need some very specific things to beat us. As it is, they can do this, which is turn 1 map, which is what we were afraid of. But at the same time, we've still got some good plays here. Still got a great curve. Okay, and their only spell in hand is Mind Stone. We get to take that away, which I don't mind. And they don't have Tron rolled up, but they've got all kinds of mana, right? So... Okay, Plague Engineer. What's the play? What's the play? Obviously between Goyf and Oof. So we're looking at... I guess the safer thing is to play an Oof. It's going to shut off more Mind Stones, Walking Ballista, things like this. Oh, and they didn't crack map in response. Oh no. And opponent, dat click. Opponent says dat click. Oops, I didn't even mean the winky face. I meant to make a non-winky sad face. That was a little passive-aggressive unintentionally from me. That really is a tilt. That sucks for OP, but we'll take it, right? We'll take it. Liliana of the Veil? It's probably Liliana time. So we don't really need a second green at this stage. We already have double black. I guess we get Island. And I think I'm actually going to pick Snapcaster Mage here because Snap Thoughtseize might whiff, and we don't have anything else to do. And, like, there's an argument for pitching Goyf because we're clustered around the 2-drop slot, and those 2-drops like Goyf don't get value, unlike Snapcaster. Plus, they do have a Scavenger Grounds. Ooh, they pitch Thought Knot. Interesting. I mean, it does just die to the Edict, I guess. So we want to fade Reality Smasher here, which I assume they just drew. Okay, they drew Karn the Great Creator. How does Plague Engineer work against this? It doesn't have a type? That's what it looks like. I've never encountered this situation, but it looks like it doesn't have a type. I think I'm actually cool edicting here. I don't know what the last card in their hand is, but my hand's pretty good. So let's just edict. And this lets us dump out our whole hand over the course of 2 turns. Again, soft to Blast Zone, but and with our roof around, it's not like Karn can tutor for EE or something like this. So they'll have 5 mana next turn, rising to 6 for Eldrazi, so potentially they could go like Land Endbringer or something, if that's not the most common card in the world these days, but just trying to think of what the Eldrazi Temple could get them right now. Or they could just cast a... Okay, they go in Snaring Bridge, sure. So unless they have a land to play, Oof can still attack Karn off the field. Obviously want to do that before we tick Lily up. Ah, they just lose a Walking Ballista. Fair enough. Okay. Well, now I suppose it is time to just go on the Liliana plan, huh? The other thing we could do is hope that whatever's in their hand plus whatever they draw gets stranded there. I don't think that's particularly likely. I think we're just going to tick the Lily up and make them somehow beat her. Just name Eldrazi here. All is dust out of the hand. Yeah, pretty glad I did that. Ooh, playing the Thought Knot. Almost more dangerous than just sandbagging it in a weird way, just because it's going to let us see another card if we choose to Edict, but I guess they got to stop the Liliana marching up toward ult. Misty Rainforest. Okay, so do we keep ulting or do we try to dig for an answer to Bridge? either way, we'll play that. I think I'm going to keep ticking up. It's kind of an interesting call. More than kind of an interesting call. Definitely an interesting call. On the end step, I'm going to grab one land just to make our mana better, thin out the deck a little bit. We'll still have Revolt and a fetch land for a land drop should we find Tracker. Actually, we sided out our Tracker, but we still want to leave one uncracked for Fatal Push Revolt purposes, but all the more reason to thin out a little bit here on the end step. Ooh, Pithing Needle. Okay. Yeah, I mean, probably should have seen that one coming, and then therefore maybe should have edicted last turn with Lily while he had the chance. Oof. Oof. Okay, opponent building up the board here. Fatal Push. Alright, better late than never. Let's push a Thought Knot. Find another oof. Sure, I suppose we play it up. Alright, just gotta find one of our many kill spells for Ensnaring Bridge. In the meantime, I don't think we gain much from not going wide. Like, I understand how soft we are to sweeper effects, but I don't think we have a great deal of choice here because they're so, like, even a moderately powerful sweeper effect is going to be enough to kind of put us away. So they tried to make an Eldrazi Scion with Warping Wail, and then it died to state-based effects from Plague Engineer. So that's pretty awesome for us. Nice side effect of naming Eldrazi there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That makes me afraid they have a All Is Dust in hand, though. And we just drew a land. Yikes. So as far as I can really tell, edicting with Liliana, while it would have been the right play if we had first seen Pithing Needle, they hit the land. But they're not immediately All Is Dusting, they're instead tutoring. Mycosynth Lattice. Okay. They're locked out by this too. So then what's going to happen is they're eventually going to have cards just stuck in hand by an Ensnaring Bridge. And then we'll get to attack and win. No reason to do this yet. We'll just wait until everything can attack. I was going to tell the opponent what's up in chat, but they understand. Or they will figure it out soon enough. It'd just be nice for them to scoop here. Realizing that they can't get there. Okay, there they go. So, Collector Oof, doing the job. Doing the job that we need. And you know what, guys? Does it feel any better than that? If you're with me on this channel and you hate playing against Eldrazi Tron as a mid-range player, well, how about that? We get to 2-0 them, and we get to do it because they lock themselves out. Collector Oof. Hosing the Expedition map early on, even though they could have clicked it in response. Activated it in response. And then Oof once again making the Lattice Lock double-sided, and since we had the wider board and the Tarmogoyfs, eventually they would have had to... Even the bridge could not have stopped the 6-7 Goyf, so we had the inevitability there. What a fun win. Really, what a fun win. This is a fine keep in a blind game 1. We do really hope they play to the board with a hand like this. Want to be able to go like turn 1, push their Dork, turn 2, Skoos, and start interacting from there and taking over with the Ooze. So to that end, we will run out of fetch land here. Polluted Delta also probably conceals the fact that we're a BGX deck pretty well. Maybe Misty Rainforest would conceal that better, though. Blood Crypt. Okay, are we against Grixis Shadow? Blood Crypt shocked in, but then pass. Usually you see them play a blue land turn 1, but maybe they don't have one. Or maybe we're against something else altogether, who knows. I think I'm going to get Breeding Pool here, leave our options open as much as possible. So lets us opt painlessly if we draw that, but probably supposed to just jam Skoos even though they probably have a Fatal Push. Yeah, I'll do it. If they don't have the answer right now, then this is going to be pretty much good against any Blood Crypt deck. They have Lightning Bolt. Okay. I've seen a Shadow deck or two play Lightning Bolt recently. This is just Jund that just shocked into Blood Crypt. Interesting. Alright, well, I mean... fair enough, I guess. Just main phasing this because you never know what kind of weird stuff goes on. It does make their exactly Maelstrom Pulse better, but I've also recently seen Veil of Summer main deck, and I'm sure that's wrong and I'm sure that's incorrect, but geez, was that ever tilting to get blown out by, so that's got me all shook. It's got me shook. Opponent's stuck on 2 lands, which is great, and they just have another Goyf, which is also great. Let's draw Liliana. We don't. We draw Push, which is fine. It's going to allow us to keep interacting here. Hold up, Drown in the Lock, all the good stuff. So now we're not blown out by the opponent going land Liliana because we can counter her on the stack. Pretty amazing. Okay, there's the land. Now, what do they have? I think I'm going to compete over this because the opponent's ahead on cards, and I think they definitely would have jammed Lily if they had her. So, like, because they're ahead on cards, I kind of want to be the aggressor as much as possible. And leaving Drown in the Lock around against the opposing discard deck is not a good idea if we have a reasonable use case for it, which I believe that was. Okay. Here comes the value. Here comes the value. Vraska Golgari Queen. Nice draw. I'll take that for sure right now. So we need a second blue land. I suppose there's no real reason to shock here. We got double black, double green. Fair enough. So that takes care of running 6. It grows the Goyf and it gives us a Planeswalker. So opponent at 6 life, we've got a kill spell in hand. They kind of need Bloodbraid Elf here, and I assume they have it. So let's hope for a really bad hit off Bloodbraid. Or hope they don't have it. And ooh, Inquisition, okay. That's kind of bad. Yeah, ooh, Lily. Feels like Lily was a top deck, right? Really feels like it. Tracker. Yes. Definitely playing it. I guess we'll lose this island to draw. Try to draw land. We draw Liliana. Definitely a good one, but really wanted something we could play out that turn, especially a land. Yep, feels bad here. They're probably going to pick... Okay, Inquisition. Whatever. Oh no, Bloodbraid into Tracker of their own. Oof. Scary stuff, my friends. Scary, scary stuff. Gotta trade off here. Gotta hope we draw some way to keep Vraska around. Or to punish the opponent for this. And instead we're punished for it because we draw a land. A little bit rough. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're flooding at the crucial stage here. Opponent has no bad draws, basically, besides a discard spell right now. Lands are guess, and gas is guess, right? And they just have a trophy. Yep. Okay. Yep. Another real good turn from the OP. Looks like this one's slipping away. Yeah. You know, we don't have any reach in the blue deck. Even though they're down to 5 life, they just have us roundly defeated here. We did, to be fair, draw 4 lands in a row right at the end, I believe. Despite having some extra draws off of Vraska, just flooded like crazy. Definitely a feel-bad moment. I'm going to play Spreading Seas against Jund on the play, but not the draw. I think that's the time when it can really screw them. Spellbomb's good, or at least decent. Veil of Summer for sure. Plague Engineer, decent. Not as high on it against Jund as I am against other fair decks because of Bolt and K-Command. We don't have that much else to do, so we might be able to fit all this in. Certainly we'll be able to fit in Seas, no problem on the play. Cut a basic here. I guess, and I don't know which one's correct to cut. Probably move away from some number of discard. Let's just say we're cutting Island, because I might also cut Opt, or trim Opt. I do like Nile Spellbomb well enough, I think, to play it. What if we just start with like one Plague Engineer? Let's say one Island, one Opt, and 4 discard spells out. That's a 60. Now, I think a couple Thought Seizes in is fine. A couple Opts in is fine. I think our 3-drop slot is already... yeah, I'm just like not super high on Plague Engineer until I know the opponent's on like Bob or something. But you know what? Let's just be a little more threat-oriented on the play. So do we cut a second Opt or a second Thought Seize? I guess Opt. Don't really know. Don't really know quite what's optimal. I think our matchup here is good, but I also think we were pretty unlucky to lose that first one. And I'd be a lot more comfortable having won game 1, to state the obvious, right? So, good old BGX mirror. Let's hope the luck is with us, because that's often what it comes down to. This is a great hand. We're going to keep it. Always nice to be rewarded for leaving in just like 2 discard spells by seeing one in the opener. Okay, K-Command, Bolt, Goyf. The obvious take is K-Command, but we actually cannot beat Goyf. And leaving K-Command allows us to go turn 3, Snap, Thoughtseize the K-Command. So I think like if we had any kind of kill spell of any kind, we'd leave the Goyf in. But instead, I think I'm kind of priced into taking it. Or we might be able to just eat it with the use. I don't know. Taking K-Command is still arguably correct there, just because either player's draws can change things drastically. Like, we could draw Fatal Push or Liliana. But hope you understand my logic there behind taking that away. Look at that, we drew Fatal Push. Oh, how exciting it is. Okay, so we want to respect our life total here, but we also want as much green as possible. I guess we'll bite the bullet and get a breeding pool now. That's going to allow us to either get Swamp or Forest off of Catacombs. But yeah, our life total is getting real low. If we go fetch, snap, Thoughtseize next turn, we will be at 10. And that still might be the best play we've got. Really depends a lot on what the opponent does here. They will trophy the Tarmogoyf. Alright. Main phase trophy, I really don't know about that. I don't think that's correct. Unless, again, maybe they're like us playing around Veil of Summer. The card is just terrorizing everything. Well, I think it might actually be time to play Skoos. It's going to make their Bolt and K-Command both bad if we can make it a 4-4 while they're tapped out. Yeah, still just considering Snap Thoughtseize, but I do like this window for this play. Opponent goes Ghost Quarter. I didn't mention that because we saw it in their opening hand. Definitely an unusual one in Jund. You know, the Ren GQ loop is definitely a thing, but yeah, maybe if we do take him to game 3, I guess we should put a basic land back in. Also, maybe shouldn't have fetched basics so aggressively here, but they're just going to GQ themselves. which, I mean, they had a peatland in hand, so, whatever. Brutality. Wow. Wow, brutality in against us too? Ugh. I don't know about that, to be perfectly frank. Don't know about that. But hey, we get to snap Thoughtseize, take away the K command, which I suppose is our line here. Or whatever else they have in hand. I guess K command's already... Oh, they pitched it? Whatever. This is still the line. Okay, sure. So they have a peatland in hand. They've Stone Rained themselves. They're fairly far behind, but as always, the top decks can do anything, and they immediately top deck an answer to Goyf, so that changes a whole lot. However, Tar Pit is a bit of a replacement threat. Red and 6 would be a very scary draw because it can ping Snapcaster and it can also loop GQ to eventually start Stone Raining us, beginning by killing our creeping Tar Pit. Opponent now deciding whether or not they're going to crack Peatland aggressively main phase, but that'd be pretty risky. Okay, Trophy's a fine draw here. Really is. It's something that we can always fire off no matter what in response to discard or whatever, so... Sure. So I think with our Mana Sink on field, we are supposed to Trophy right now rather than untapping and seeing what we draw. Just because doing this allows us to attack and play a 2-drop, just like we did last turn. Snapcaster Mage. Well, we can't quite hold that up, and I think that's very powerful if we attack with Tar Pit. So let's put brakes on the aggro, I guess, for a minute. Yeah, Snap Trophy or Snap Push is too powerful to go shields down with. Okay. Good thing we had the other snap safely in hand, am I right? Oh, man. These are some non-Bowie things. These are some non-Bowie things. There's so much value in hand. You know what I'm going to do? It's not as bad if we get caught like by a discard spell now because we have 2 really good cards in hand. So instead I'm just going to attack. Because, like, we don't have anything proactive to do. Remember how I said Snap Opt is a really good proactive floor? I would have definitely done that at the end of the turn last turn. That way we'd have the pressure down, we would have sculpted our draws, so on and so forth. But because we don't have that proactive floor, besides, like, hitting a dual land, I guess, with a trophy, we are kind of stuck in a weird position where we've got some stuff that's really powerful but not working well together at the moment. But again, as said, you know, now I don't feel as bad about going shields down. Okay, they have a tracker. So we can kill this, and we will. And now I think it's correct to attack here because... there are very few ways in which we are punished for this with them getting the Snapcaster out of our hand and they're not dead next turn. Alright, cool. Yeah, I mean, they've got obviously a ton of value with Tracker, K-Command, Bloodbraid, Wrenn and 6, but so do we. We haven't even seen Oko yet. Maybe he'll make a game-winning appearance here in Game 3. So I think as cool as Spreading Seas is against Jund, in the pre-Wrenn and 6 era, I would probably just leave this in. But I don't think it's good enough against Wrenn and 6 to warrant play when we're on the draw, sadly. So we want to bring this land back in, but I still think being on 22 lands is correct. But with Ghost Quarter around, we'll put the basic back. I guess we'll just take out a Darkslick Shores, I suppose. Now, we've lost our Seas, so we can bring back maybe I could even see bringing back 2 discard spells. They don't appear to be on Dark Confidant, so I'm not that high on Plague Engineer. Maybe we just bring back an Opt and 1 discard spell. You still don't want to draw 2 dead off the top deck with too many, discard spells. So I like that plenty. Plenty fine. I think just 2 Plague Man is fine. Sure, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, we've got all kinds of great stuff here that we haven't even leaned on yet, like Veil of Summer and Oko. I mean, I'm going to keep it. We obviously have to draw black land, but the hand is just way too good not to keep, in my view. Hope they don't have discard here, and they sure do. Brutal. Brutal. Yep, there goes Veil. There goes our blowout card. Oh, we find another blowout card. Cute idea would have been to play Forest or even to shock that in to bluff another Veil of Summer, like that we top decked one, but I'm just not going to do that. Our life total does matter. Alright, really need to draw the black land now. Oh, come on. Come on, come on, Thoughtseize. Okay. Still need the black land. Still really need it. We don't get it, but we get a castable card. That said, it's very soft to anything they're going to do. All will be well if we simply draw an untapped black land. We can even go Snapcaster Veil of Summer next turn. That's live among many other lines. But they're curving out incredibly well. Discard, discard Liliana on the play. This is real tough for us to beat. Unless we start beating it right now with the right draw. Again, a playable card. Can't complain too much, but thus far our keep has been max punished. Jeez, how much discard did they leave in? I guess it's a push if it goes here, right? Alright, please, please untapped black land. We did it, friends. We did it. Alright, now the major thing we want to fade is another Liliana. If they don't have a Liliana here, even if they get a threat down of their own, it won't be ideal. If they trade 1-for-1 with Goyf, it won't be ideal. But we need to fade another Liliana before we get this counter magic online. And they have a land. Beautiful. We have a Lily of our own, we can't cast her. That's alright. Drown and Lock, very good in this spot. And Tarmogoyf really has a clock on him. Okay, now we can cast Liliana. But I honestly think it's probably better to hold up Drone. Having said that, I will run out this land. I guess we're going to let that resolve and we can always drown it on the end step. Or we could untap and Edict with Lily. But I think we're incentivized to dump out our hand. The main reason, like, it would be awesome to draw an untapped land, because then we could Edict and still hold up Drown that turn. But since we can't guarantee that, let's just Drown it. Alright. Good enough, that's the scoop. I mean, they knew about the card, right? So I don't know why that changed anything necessarily, but one assumes they had another extraneous land in hand, and they sure do. They show us the land. Well, I sympathize, my friend. GG, well played. Taking down Jund. Taking down Jund despite losing game 1. Awesome. Blue Rock looking good, my friends. Looking good, having some fun with it. Not even really being carried by Oko yet. It's kind of like the core green-black cards plus Snapcaster Mage doing the most work here. But Oko definitely had a shining moment already, and hopefully we'll see some more. Okay. Join match, round 3. Here we are. Or are we? Will the opponent accept our challenge? I don't know. Not looking promising, is it? I stand corrected. They're in at the last minute. We've won the die roll. We've got a good keep. Great keep, even. For sure, keep it. And Polluted Delta Pass is the way to do this, because if they're burn and they go Goblin Guide, we can fetch a swamp and push it. If they're most other things, we can fetch like a Watery Grave, probably an Opt. Copperline Gorge, I suppose this is Dredge. Yes. Not good. This is something our hand's not very good against. So we do unfortunately need black. So we got a shock here, and we do want to opt digging for Scavenging Ooze. I mean, we do sort of need the third land, don't we? Then again, it's a shock land. Maybe we don't really need the third land. Like, I'd rather just dig to the ooze and then try to draw the land as well. Okay, we have the ooze. Awesome. Also a little bit punishing for bottoming that, but we have the other one on top anyway. Okay, well, we were just meant to have this ooze, and let's hope it's going to be enough to stop the opponent. They did keep 7. They do have turn 1 Shriekhorn, and I don't think it's going to be enough because their top 2 cards are completely amazing, Bloodghast and Stinkweed Imp. So both decks doing their thing here, but their thing is better than our thing game 1. It's not over, but that was we really needed them to not have the perfect draws there, and if they have a land here, then maybe it is kind of over. We'll see. We'll just see, but yeah, they sure do have the land, so they have everything. Of course, we don't expect them to keep a one land or 7 in a blind game 1, right? Okay, so we're kind of priced into eating life from the loam. I guess we should do the responsible thing in Thoughtseize. With our non-green land. Be nice to get the Tarmogoyf down, but I don't think that's what this turn is for. Or is it? I mean, we can eat life from the loam and play Goyf. Is that good? Is that better than Thoughtseizing? You know what might actually be? I think I'm gonna do it. We're gonna make them punish us for going like shields down here. We gotta be proactive. We're on the play. If we can't do it now, when can we do it, right? So we gotta take the slightly higher risk, slightly higher reward lines in order to beat their very strong start in a game 1. So now we block well. Oh no. Okay, Haggle. Yeah, jeez, Haggle too. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Stinkweed Imp gets pitched again. They hit Chill and Bloodghast. Yeah, pretty nutty. So we gotta hope for a turn of bricks. Might as well attack here because we're not jumping with ooze. Oh my god, they have all 4 Bloodghasts. Yeah, okay, we're just basically dead. Amalgam. They all have haste too, because we're at exactly 10. So our shock land's hurting us here. So they get to put us to 9 and block the Amalgam. Conflagrate. Conflagrate. Card I can't pronounce and a card I can't beat. Oh boy. Alright, Dredge. Well, that was insane. We were not even really close, despite having turn 2 Skoos on the play. And that's just the power of their nut draws. So let's see what we've got here. I think we actually have a decent amount of things to do. Spellbomb, Ashiok, Extraction. This is all good graveyard hate. I think Collective Brutality is a card I like on the play, and Plague Engineer is definitely a nice one as well. Oko and Vraska fill kind of a similar role in that they are slow, and they're not the most immediately or obviously impactful, but at the same time, the fact that they're value-oriented and the fact that they have some life gain or some life stability elements means that perhaps they're kind of in this spot where it's like, okay, I could see either way. I could see going either way with them. We're probably not going to side out too many, if any, but we could trim. Tracker could also go. It's a little slow. I'm definitely just going to bring in all 7 of these cards. Liliana's are gone. What else don't we really like here? I know discard's important. I am a little tempted to cut 1 Thoughtseize on the play, but maybe we just leave that in. Just a little bit sketchier here with our 3-color land base than I'm used to in Rock. We have to make 4 cuts. Alright, Tracker's definitely out. Let's just cut an Opt. It's a fine card to trim when you're not... when you don't have other obvious things to trim, right? I guess Drown in the Loch is good enough. Countering things on the stack is okay. Let's just cut a couple trophies. I realize that you can use Trophy to attack their land base a little bit, but I've never really liked to do that against Dredge. Some people cut like Fatal Pushes and leave in their trophies. I prefer to leave in pushes because they lean, you know, you can lean into skews that way. Push something, eat something, win incrementally. Or sometimes push is just fine if you're like all out racing. Well, this hand's a keep, and it's also really awkward. And the way we sequence is probably going to depend on whether they keep a large number of cards or whether they have to mulligan deep. If they mulligan deep, I'm going to play Tar Pit into skews. If they keep 7, I'm going to go turn 1 Thoughtseize and try to draw an untapped land next turn. Okay, so they keep 7, so we're priced into this. And even if we don't, we get to go turn 2 Thoughtseize. Hopefully that just cripples them long enough to get our skews online. Kind of sucky that we've got Thoughtseizes here rather than Inquisitions, but what are you going to do? At least we have them, right? Okay, so Shriekhorn's the take. And nothing else is a good discard target. So now we just really want to draw Basic Forest, or obviously any untapped green land will do. Instead we draw Opt, which is among the most awkward draws given our current mana and hand and everything. And yeah, we're just not going to Thoughtseize that hand. Like, yeah, they could have drawn Cathartic or Union, but Thoughtseize is way more likely to do more harm than good. So Creeping Tar Pit won us the game against Jund. Excellent card, but really killing us here. If we had been able to play Skews this turn, that would have been night and day. Now, as it is, we're still very soft. They find another Shriekhorn. That appears to have been a top deck this turn, and they immediately dredge into Stinkweed Imp, so come on, Greenland, we did it, yes. Okay, we kind of needed this to stay competitive. So now we get to play Ooze and Eat the Imp. Alright. Opponent still got the Shriekhorn hit and we're shields down from it, but they whiff on this one. That's good. So they can cast Life from the Loam to get some value, and then we'll be able to eat it. We'll see what else they have, though. Nope, it is just Loam. Into... Oh, Lightning Axe? Really? Really, Lightning Axe? Come on, come on. Okay. So they're going to get to start dredging with both Life from the Loam and Golgari Thug. So we could play Vraska to kill their Shriekhorn and take care of that, but they have enough value already in the graveyard that I think we are instead supposed to opt. Opt looking for graveyard hate. Bottom a land. Draw a land. Still think Thoughtseizing is a little sketchy. We know they have Amalgam. We know they have lands. I don't think we're just supposed to play Tarmogoyf into Shores and say go. Yeah, I mean, they, like, in the space of a couple draw steps, found the answer to Scoos. We also didn't quite get to curve out with it. We could have gotten more value before that happened. That said, opponent just had a couple kind of whiffs off of Life from the Loam and Shriekhorn. Only thing of consequence in there right now that wasn't already there is Amalgam. But then they hit double Creeping Chill and Narcomoeba. So, Forgotten Cave, very strong upgrade to Dredge. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're at 10. Okay. Still in the market for Graveyard Hate. Also in the market for just, like... Okay, Fatal Push, huh? So, I mean, they're at 25. Like, ugh, so ridiculous. Racing them is just... It's kind of unrealistic, but at the same time, sitting back while they have the ability to loop Life from the Loam is not realistic either. We're kind of in a no-win situation. So I'm considering playing Vraska, shocking her in, ticking her up, and holding up Fatal Push. Again, trying to find Graveyard Hate. I think that's kind of what we have to do. We could, you know, like, just clear out their board here, too, and try to race them. But again, I don't think that's very likely to go our way. So I'm going to dig. Looking for a Nile Spellbomb, basically. Instead, we find Polluted Delta. Alright, I'm committing to the race. We're going to push Narcomoeba, we're going to attack for 5. We do have Tar Pit, we do have Vraska. These are ways to swing the race. I don't think it's very likely, but I think we probably have given ourselves the best lands here. So they just hit another Narcomoeba right away off Forgotten Cave. Wow, and then they dredge into Bloodghast double Imp. Alright. Basically GG here. Forgotten Cave, dredging an Imp, hitting another Bloodghast and a prized Amalgam. Well, you know, the only Grave Hate we had was Scoos, and they killed it almost immediately, so this is... And they kept 7 both games. This is kind of just what happens. We're at 1. Golgari Thug. Alright. What have we got? Inquisition of Kozilek. Ooh. Call me a pessimist. I don't think that's going to do it. Another Goyf. Very, very, very dead. Well, our fun stops here. Our fun stops with Dredge. Yeah, I think our deck is well enough configured to beat Dredge, given the relative meta share of it and Crabvine, which is moderate. Kind of a moderate meta share for these all-in graveyard decks. And we've got the stuff, you know. We've got the line of Extraction, Snap, Extraction. We do have Ashiok and Spellbomb for hard hate. We do have 2 Scoozes. And we do have, you know, some reasonable enough things to do. Obviously, if Dredge... And Plague Engineer. I almost forgot to mention Plague Man. You know, they just can't do a lot of other things with Plague Man down. Naming, you know, keeping Bloodghasts off the field, basically. Note how Bloodghasts just instantly turn the corner on us both games. So, you know, I think we can certainly beat that deck. We just didn't. Really strong curve outs both times from the opponent. Whereas I think a lot of modern decks against Dredge, it's a battle of the sideboard cards. BGX decks really can beat Dredge incrementally, but we're a little bit more, you know, if we don't have a ton of Grave Hate in our sideboards, we're a little bit more at the mercy of the strength of their curve outs. Like, I think both of our Game 1 and Game 2 curve outs could have beat a moderate to slightly below moderate power curve out from them. Sadly, they had all of what they needed plus 7 cards. So they had redundancy, resiliency, and they were explosive. So they got us good. But our opponent will mulligan here in round 4, and we've got to keep. Basic Island, potentially awkward, but I guess maybe not that awkward, right? And we're on the draw. Hope y'all are enjoying this league. Hope you're enjoying this one, Alan. Our deck, definitely looking very, very promising. Okay, we are against Spirits. Mausoleum Wanderer is the play. I think we're gonna... Well, we definitely need this. Do we want to Inquisition? I suppose so. They can sack it, they can trade, but... Wow, it's just the triple Mausoleum Wanderer hand. Sure. But they play one... Or they don't play one. They play a land and pass. So they are very obviously representing Rattle Chains here. That was their draw. Their draw was Rattle Chains. Therefore, we're going to Thoughtseize right now. But we should play this land out first. And as Rattle Chains resolves, you will see why if you don't already know. So we'll Thoughtseize. In response, they will Rattle Chains. And in response to this, we will push the Rattle Chains. And they can sack Wanderer here if they like. They can also sack it to stop our Thoughtseize for all we know. Or for all we could say, but instead all these things will happen as predicted, and their hand had just Hallowed Fountain, and they shock that in. So now the problem for us is that everything is at instant speed. Looks like they might be playing something now, though. No? Okay. I think we have to hold up Snap Push here. And boy am I glad we did. Kira Great Glass Spinner. Alright, so opponent in total top deck mode, but they have the ability to really tax our removal. And we are down to 9 already. They've drawn Ether Vial. Alright. I guess Tracker into land is the responsible thing to do here. Probably better at racing them overall than playing Goyf right now. They're both just 3 power at the moment. Yeah, I mean, we can win this race, but we want to fade a Lord off the top. That's the big danger, right? Cool, okay. begin by cracking a clue here. Rattle chains. Sure. So Kira counters the Rattle Chain's ability and then the opponent scoops? What? I mean, why not just play that out? Is that like a embarrassment concession? I don't know. Maybe they just felt too far behind. Maybe they didn't realize that interaction. That's a hilarious interaction. So Kira says, whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. Opponent's Rattle Chains is trying to target a creature that they control, so Kira's ability counters Rattle Chains' ability. An opponent took that window for Rattle Chains, despite it being otherwise a not great one, because they were afraid of us. Like, they wanted to make us decide maybe to crack the clue and dig for a Fatal Push, or maybe play it at a specific time, but we were just going to jam Goyf anyway, right? Depending on what we drew, of course, so kind of hilarious, kind of hilarious. Very nice to beat Spirits Game 1. I think it's going to improve markedly for us post-side, especially since they're already main decking things like Rattle Chains and Kira that are very good against us. Let's also not forget that we beat some really tough cards there. Granted, we had a really high density of early interaction. We had a bunch of 1-mana discard and kill spells. That's what we need. So we don't appear to have that much to do, just kind of co-brew and 3 Plague Men, to the point where I wouldn't normally consider it, but like Oofs as a bear that can attack and lock down Vial is kind of funny. We probably won't bring it in, but it's worth pointing out. Otherwise, there's nothing really to do here, and to be fair, I guess our main deck is probably pretty awesome. So I'm going to cut Thought Seizes here. Maybe leave one in on the draw, but probably, yeah, might want to just cut them all. We can't afford the life loss, and unlike against Bant, they're not going to be playing Collected Company that we need to take. Otherwise, you know, again, everything we're up to is pretty much good. So yeah, let's just cut all Thought Seizes, seems fine. We got to make one more cut. Maybe it could just be Tireless Tracker. Sure. A part of me is a little bit, you know, we just wonder a little bit about them playing like a Rest in Peace. It could be a little bit soft to that with some of our removal being affected by it, as well as the usual suspects of Goyf and Ooze, but we still have Plague Man, Oko, Liliana, ways to really hose them. But, you know, leaving in a Hex Drinker, or excuse me, a Tracker, I guess, would be hedge against that. We do have that. One Hex Drinker is a hedge against that as well. And I do think that's a secondary concern. They are a very disruptive, very evasive aggro deck, so, you know, we do need to kind of focus on just being able to beat them. I'd be a lot happier with this hand on the play than the draw. I don't know if this is good enough to win on the draw, but maybe we give it a shot just because, like, one piece of 1-mana interaction turns us into a great hand, and we have some great cards, so I guess we keep it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Potentially should be a mulligan. Okay. I'm going to run out of fetch land here because we're obviously not doing anything yet. It's going to allow us to fetch a duel painlessly and also bluff. We're also bluffing this turn. We kind of don't want the opponent to just play Lords at sorcery speed and aggro us out, because that's a good way for us to lose with a hand that doesn't have the interaction that it needs. So I don't mind bluffing here. If they have like a Rattle Chains, maybe they choose to play more cautiously. Not sure what the opponent's up to here. Can't imagine they have anything to do with just a plains at this stage. They might, however, be holding up Path to Exile. Alright, we draw Drown in the Loch. That's interaction, but annoyingly enough, it's like the only form of interaction that's dead right now. So we're definitely in some trouble here, right? But we do have Oko, and if they play like a Drog Skull Capt in this... Oh, okay, they're pathing us. Sure. Kind of suspected that. We don't we only have one other Skoos in the deck, so sure, let's just get another blue source, I guess. So if they play like a fetch land, Drown in the Lot can hit a 2-drop. At least Drown in the Lot can now hit a Mausoleum Wanderer. So our cards are coming to life. Just saying Drown in the Lot go next turn wouldn't be very good though. So let's hope to draw a proactive 2-drop or something. Spell Queller. They're clearly representing Spell Queller. Plague Engineer would be so good if they just did something else this turn. Ah, man. Okay, I guess we need to bide our time here a little bit. Guess we need to bide our time just a little bit. So even though this is not very mana efficient, we're just going to say go. And we're going to try to drown a Wanderer on the upkeep. Or maybe even on the end step, but I think I'm cool with forcing action on the upkeep. Alright, so again, the only thing wrong with this is that we didn't have a mana efficient turn. Otherwise, like we finally started trading, we got a Queller out of their hands, and we got an ETB buff out of their hands all on our own turn. So this is all fine. Opponent looks like they're almost out of gas. So if we can just land a Plague Man here that kills a bunch of stuff, which we cannot. Yeah, the fact that that last card was a Lord is extremely bad for us. That changes everything. And now we're probably dead. Yeah, if they didn't have a Lord there, we'd be all set. We'd be living the high life, right? So, Trophy's a good draw. But is it enough? I don't know. I hope they just kind of psych themselves out and let this resolve. Because then Plague Engineer is going to blow them out super hard. Okay, so we can still in theory stabilize. It's just not very likely. So I guess we've just got to hope this snap Drown on the Lock on the Phantom resolves. Cool. Only problem is we're down to 4 life, and the opponent can top deck all kinds of action. But in theory, yeah, oh, that's so bad. A Lord is so bad. Okay, Oko can no longer really stabilize us. Well, unless just, like, making the food. See if he resolves, I guess. Guess we just make food to stay alive, huh? Phantasmal Image. So the Drogskull Captain lock is online. And we are dead. That's a ridiculous last draw. So opponent just kind of getting out of it here. Just getting out of it right before we were able to stabilize. Well, good game, close game. Plague Man almost caught us back up. Again, if they didn't have... They had a Lord as their last card, like at a crucial time, while curving out really well. If they didn't have that, I think we would have been fine. And then also if they didn't top deck what I assume is Drogskull Captain into Phantasmal Image in the last 2 turns, we also would have got there. It was close. It was close. Maybe we didn't deserve to win that one because we kept a hand without enough interaction. You could definitely say that. But either way, it was a close game. It was a good game. Felt like we almost stabilized, right? And again, with our life total so low, we couldn't afford to do anything with Oko. We couldn't afford to get Oko down earlier or do anything besides try to make food to keep our life total above water. So, interesting game, though. Let's hope for a better hand here on the play. Being on the play itself is a pretty big advantage in this matchup. I suppose this is keepable. I'm not really thrilled by it, though. Really don't know where all of our, like, fatal pushes are at, but opponent taking a Maul's pretty sweet, not gonna lie. I kind of think we have to fetch a Watery Grave with this Misty, which is a little bit not great. But we wanna have double black. We definitely need to get black with this. So we want to be able to cast a Liliana early if we draw her. And we also want to opt this turn. We know what we're looking for, you know, just want to be mana efficient. Turn 1 opt, turn 2 Goyf. Okay, Drown in the Loch for a 1-drop is now live. That's cool. And it's Ether Vial. Very glad to bottom that basic land and to find a Fatal Push as well. Nice. Another Overgrown Tomb. Not really what the doctor ordered, but... Oh, Plague Engineer is, though, and they're on a 1-lander? Whew. Nice. Okay. Okay, big decision here. They might be on path to exile. So the danger in running out Plague Man into a potential path is pretty obvious. Suppose no matter what, we should be attacking first. I actually think I might be interested in slow rolling the Plague Man for that exact reason. That also lets us get Tar Pit down this turn, which is pretty nice. Like, if we had a way to deploy an untapped land without shocking, that would be interesting. But since we don't, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna push this either. We're gonna wait, see if they hit a second land drop. Like, even if they blow out a push with Rattle Chains here, it's really not that big a deal. Whereas if they want to vial in like a Lord here, okay. So we just do nothing. Just get to untap and blow them out with the Plague Engineer. Now maybe this gets them to vial in a Lord, in which case we can shock in and push. Exactly right. Cool. That said, they still have the ability to sack with Wanderer here. That still progresses our game plan. Oh, and they missed it. They missed the line. So now Wanderer will die to state-based effects. So they might as well assign the chump block. So we get to have our cake and eat it too. Opponent clearly should have sacked Wanderer here to counter our Fatal Push. I guess they just kind of assumed our turn was done. That's one advantage of sequencing the way we did, like concealing our extra land drop. It just doesn't put that in their mind that we might be on Fatal Push, right? So sometimes I don't sequence optimally, either because I make mistakes like everyone else, or because I'm just like saving my mental energy, basically, because it's hard to commentate and play. But that's an example of a tiny edge accrued from what appears to me to be optimal sequencing. So that was pretty cool. Let's start off with a main phase opt. See if we find anything sorcery speed proactive to do, I guess. Like that. I'll do that. Okay, opponent vialing in a Drog Skull. They have Phantasmal Image, Rattle Chain, Selfless, Supreme Phantom. Everything else dies to the Plague Man except Supreme Phantom, so I guess that's what we take. Obviously, the Image Captain lock is rough, but we're going to kill that. We're going to kill the Captain right now with Drown in the Loch. Okay, and opponent is actually taking exactly lethal next turn if they don't have any way to stop it with the help of Creeping Tar Pit. Oh, you know what they can do is Phantasmal Image our Tarmogoyf. I still think our play there was correct, but that's a way for them to stay alive. But Image, of course, very soft to any of our removal. And right now our card quality is kind of higher than ours, so even if they manage to put together some really good things... wow, talk about high card quality, right? I actually kind of want to just, like, resolve Oko and pass. I mean, attacking with Goyf is pretty safe. It's going to kind of force them to probably make the image. Alright, let's attack with Goyf. I'm not going to trade Plague Man for their Phantasmal Image on Tarmogoyf, though. That's something I'm not going to do. And the fact that we're not activating Tar Pit might scare them a little bit. They might think we have removal. I wish we did. So again, 2 of their cards just died a Plague Man state-based effect. There is 1 unknown in hand. Oh, they're making it Plague Man. And they're trading with our Goyf. Interesting. I didn't really see that coming. This makes a lot of sense if their last card is Path to Exile, which I really hope it's not. If not, if that's not their last card, I don't actually know how much sense that play makes. I think Plague Engineer is the card they really have to beat, but then again, their life total's so low. Alright, so we're just making food with Oko. Getting some inevitability in terms of stability and life total and all that. What did they draw here? Geist of St. Traft. Kinda scary. So if they attack Oko, we have actually kind of a problem on our hands, because if we just say no blocks and they get to Violin a Lord, Oko's dead. Instead, they'll just scoop. I'll take it. Plague Engineer OP. Plague Man OP. Oh, man. I do like the Spirits matchup. It's very skill-intensive, I think. And it's also, admittedly, I think, a pretty good matchup for BGX, but the Blue Splash is definitely not as good as Jund, and probably not as good as being on the 2 colors of Rock, either. With all due respect to Oko and to Snapcaster Mage, those are cards that are not guaranteed to be the best in that matchup. A lot less likely, in fact, than they are in like a mid-range mirror. So Glad to escape with the win there, and those were 3 good games if you ask me. And we're kicking some butt in the league. We're 3-1, playing for the 4-1. I think we can probably need to do better than this in a blind game 1, no interaction, 5 lands. Send it back. I can keep this, and I suppose we just ditch a redundant Liliana. However, if they're an attrition deck and they discard out our Liliana, we'll be very sad. But that's the play to make. And this is a good 6. Really is. Okay, Plains Ether Vial. Another Vial deck. I suppose we should fetch now, in case it's a Leonin Arbiter deck. So let's get an Overgrown Tomb. And let's see what's up. It is humans. Another Vial, a Phantasmal Image, and a Thalia's Lieutenant. Pretty weak hand right now, pretty easy take of Lieutenant, but we have mulliganed, and the game is young, right? So we'll just have to see how it all goes. Notably, Cavern of Souls is alive against Drown in the Loch, amusingly enough, not something that usually comes up. Tar Pit. So if we play Tar Pit, we are not holding up Opt. Do we care? You know, I think we actually do. I think opting is pretty sweet right here. Or casting Drown in the Loch, like if they have Mantis Rider this turn. We don't want, like, we really need to have our kill spell up here, actually. Well, never mind. It doesn't hit Mantis Rider. It doesn't hit anything besides a 1-drop. I was going to say being able to kill a Rider in response to them vialing an image would be sweet. But that's not what's happening. So I'm glad we did this. We just get to opt. Sculpt our draws. Snapcaster Mage. Really seems like they only have, like, image in hand. That said, Snap Drown in the Loch is pretty good. Like, down the road. Still think I'm going to bottom it, though. Think we can do better. I think we're just kind of jamming Lily this turn. Yeah, especially having drawn all these extra lands, it's just Liliana time. So they could have some somewhat conditional cards in hand besides Image, like Reflector Mage would be a great example. I just think that Inquisition is kind of likely to whiff and or to just give their stuff a target, like going Snap Inquisition. So that even though that was a fine line overall, I think playing Liliana here is better. There goes Image. Alright, so even though that was kind of an awkward card there, we do still, you know, we're getting gas out of the hand. That's a great thing. But now is where it gets a little scary. Opponent could make 3, potentially even 4 plays this turn. Looks like they found a Mantis Rider, if I had to guess. They sure did. Obviously annoying. But the other good thing about having played Lily is that Drown in the Loch is now alive. So we're flooding out. That's pretty awkward, but I'm not sure whether Tar Pit or Peatland is optimal here, but since we are on the Liliana plan, I think just make sure this resolves first. I'm just main phasing it before they get, like, Vial to 2 for another Phantasmal Image. And because we are on the Liliana plan, we'll just prioritize emptying our hand as quickly as possible. Therefore, we'll play Peatland, or we'll not plan to crack Peatland quite yet. All else being equal. Deputy of Detention was in their hand. Oh, opponent accidentally took their vial up to 4. The opponents are misclicking for us today. Unlucky. And they just scooped to that? Wow. Okay. Yeah, an opposing misclick, I believe for the 3rd time this league. There is the one in the beginning where Eldrazi Tron opponent failed to crack map in response to our oof. There was the... I don't even remember the second one, but there was a second one, and now there's just this one. So, hey, you know, hazard of playing online. Our sideboarding is going to be very similar. We've got Plague Men and we've got Brutality, and probably not a great deal else. Again, the cheeky oof to hit the veil or to hit the vials while being a board presence is not unheard of, but it's also not probably good enough. And once again, we don't like Thoughtseize. And the rest of our deck's pretty good, so what's our worst card? Maybe, once again, we just move away from a tracker. I'm a lot less worried about Rest in Peace against humans than I am against Blue-White Spirits. So, is everything else looking good to you? Because I think it's looking good to me. We could either cut an Opt or a tracker. But I think since we're bringing in a bunch of 3-drops, just cut our tracker. Especially on the draw where we might need to be as low curve as possible. Well, very nice to win game 1 against humans. And again, we're in a spot where the blue splash is maybe not as good as the red splash for Jund, or being on the Painless 2-color rock deck. But if we can get like Snap Push or Snap Inquisition going, or in this case Snap Trophy, this hand's medium, but I'm going to keep it. I wish this was any other kill spell, of course, besides Trophy. Like, if we had a Fatal Push in that spot, this hand would be nuts. Go turn 1 push, turn 2 Goyf, turn 3 Snap Push. It's a great way to win. Or we could just draw Plague Engineer. That's cool, too. That's cool, too, believe me. So I think Overgrown Tomb is the land to get. We do want to start stacking up green mana for Skoos. Suppose this is going to be Thalia. So we are priced for sure into Goyf unless we draw Inquisition or Push. Or I guess another 2-drop. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to shock. Click the wrong button. Talk about misclicks. Hello, misclick. Fatal Push is a good draw. For sure. But she just dies to the Plague Man anyway, so let's just play Goyf. Commiserating with the opponent. You know, I'm so magnanimous that I shocked on purpose because I felt bad for their misclick, right? That's just how good of a guy I am. Yeah, hopefully we don't lose by 2 life because that would suck. Just tired at the end of a league. Tired from talking and from playing. What can I say? So yeah, unnecessary damage there. But here comes the Plague Man to make it all better. And we will have the ability to revolt our Fatal Push next turn. We can even go Push, Snap, Push next turn, which is going to be nuts if they don't have another Thalia. And in order to have that, they would have to kill our Plague Man. Or bounce it, or deputy it, whatever. But they can't play Thalia and do those things. Or they try to play Auric Champion and it just dies to the Plague Engineer. Plague Man is just dumpstering this league. Holy crap. Oh, that's the scoop. Wow. Guys, Plague Engineer. What is up, Plague Man? What's going on? What's going on with the Plague Man? I actually think, even though I love the Plague Man, as Alan and I were talking about the list, if I recall correctly, I think Alan started off wanting 3 Oof and 3 Plague Men. And I started off saying, well, let's get Veil of Summers in the deck, maybe we trim a Plague Man and an Oof. And I think Alan came back to me with a sideboard after we both took each other's suggestions on board. And he still had 3 Plague Man in there, but he went down to 2 Oof. And I was like, you know what? I'm all about the Plague Man. Great with me. And look at that. Plague Man destroying spirits and really embarrassing the humans matchup right there at the end. So you gotta love it. And you know, admittedly, as I've said, the blue splash does not do as much for us against the aggro decks as we might hope. So there's nothing wrong with really shoring up those matchups with Plague Engineer, or with my other suggestion that we didn't end up implementing, which is a one of Engineered Explosives. EE is not as common as it used to be, but in Rock you can only make it 2 colors, and in Jund it's a very dead cascade almost all the time off of Bloodbraid Elf. But in Sultai, it's definitely a live one if you need to shore up the aggro matchups. Play some Plague Men or play some EEs. And granted, Oko definitely helps there too. Now, again, even if the opponent didn't misplay a little bit there, we had push, snap push lined up for turn 4. I mean, the opponent, and we should have by rights been at 14 instead of 12 by my misclick. I think we were pretty darn favored from there, but the opponent tossed an Ariat champion into the Plague and then just said, well, this is unbeatable, I'll just leave. So, alright guys, that was a fun league. And like I said, I did not even play a single warm-up game with this list. I did not have time. This was my first ever run out with this type of Sultai list, and I gotta tell you, it felt real good. I think our variance was good. Don't get me wrong, I think variance was good in everything except the matchup we lost, which was Dredge, and honestly, our variance was fine. Like, we found our ooze game 1, and we had a really functional ooze hand game 2. The opponent just had a couple of really resilient, powerful draws. So, in one sense, we had bad variance there, but even so, our variance was fine. So, no complaints here from that. I complain about it when it's bad, I gotta acknowledge it when it's good. We had some solid variance here. And this was our league, so Blue Rock Revisited. Again, our changes from Matthew Dika's awesome Blue Rock list were mainly getting Vraska in over Jace, which I really like, and replacing the Taziger and Thought Scour package with Scavenging Ooze and Opt. I think Opt looked pretty good here, to be honest. We ended up not seeing it all that much, but we bottomed away some bad cards when we didn't need them. I mean, again, card selection is historically kind of a blind spot for BGX, right? So the fact that Opt can start filling up our graveyard early while giving us selection is a good proactive floor for Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, I like it just fine. So, that was our league. We are thanking, once again, sincerely thanking Julio Caro for going all the way from Inquisitor to Of the Veil, from the very lowest tier of support on Patreon to the very highest tier. I love it, my friend. Thank you so much. We are thanking Jonathan Poirier-Monet, hope I got your name somewhat correct, for signing up as a confidant. Thank you so much, my friend. And as always, once again, we are thanking Alan Lambert. Alan, just such an awesome guy, genuinely super cool guy, very proud to call you a supporter, very interesting, nice guy, cool dude all around, what more can you say? So thank you so much, Alan, for your generous support, and for lending the Okos to this league. We didn't see all that much of Oko. I think we need to split the thumbnail duty between Plague Engineer and a blue card, maybe Snapcaster Mage. Honestly, Tarmogoyf won us a ton of games this league too, but since we're playing Blue Rock, we should probably put a blue card on there. So, Plague Man and someone else. Plague Man and Snapcaster probably, but we'll have to see. I'll have to think about that. But I hope, my friends, that you enjoyed this matchup. As always, let me know what you thought about, what you think about the deck. You know, this is a deck that I'm sure a lot of people out there are going to be trying. So we as a community had some great feedback on the previous Blue Rock list. Maybe there's some other good feedback you'd like to share here. Don't be shy with it. Of course, let me know what you think about the sideboarding and all the rest. So stay tuned to the channel. We will be maybe dipping into Pioneer. Lately, I might have a Pioneer donation league coming up. We might also have a Jund Modern donation league coming up. I think we're deciding between the two as we speak. And more mono-red prowess in Modern, more analysis, more gameplay. Stick around. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you are enjoying this content, patreon.com/GrimflayerMTG is in the description below. I really, truly appreciate everybody doing so, and I'd love to grow. Like, you guys have the first-hand proof by now. The more support I get, the more time I put into the channel. You know how it works. It's a proportional relationship. So if you like to see the content you love grow, then please consider donating directly to me. It helps me out a lot in my life. I really can't even tell you how much it does. So let's wrap it up here. Thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.